Hi, everybody. I'm Marbeth Dunn. Welcome to the World Miracle Peace Experiment. We have our Live at 5 meditation and conversation. We have only two emotions. We have love and we have fear. And we know that love will always dissolve fear. And today we're here to bring peace to a very chaotic world. So our beautiful panel includes Beth Donnelly Feller. She's an award-winning author, a recording artist, a performer, and a Qigong instructor. And Sarah Ross, international award-winning speaker and best-selling author. Joel Young, creator of Non-Personal Awareness and the NPA Process, and host of the Be a Brilliant Human podcast. And Christine Glenn, Director of Humanities Teams World Regions, co-leader of Humanity Team Canada, and co-host of Humanity Team's monthly Power of Prayer calls. That's hard to say. And of course, Harrison Klein, the world-renowned metaphysician, author, and educator. And our theme today is All You Need is Love. So it's all we need. All we need is love. And that's such a powerful, powerful statement. And I'd like to focus our meditation today on love being all that we need. So let us bring our shoulders up and back and down just a couple of times to rotate the shoulders forward and back, getting ourselves centered. And just sinking into the chair and just following the breath, taking a deep breath and following it in your mind's eye from your nostrils. We're going to inhale, following it all the way down into the belly in your mind's eye, and then following it as it leaves your body through your nostrils. So notice as we all follow the breath together, we inhale all the way down and we exhale all the way out. In synchronicity, we're all inhaling and exhaling together. And as we breathe together and sink into the present moment, through our senses, through the breath, being aware of the breath and how it affects every part of our body. As we inhale and exhale, we become very centered in the present moment. So just take a moment to notice your feet on the floor, what that feels like, the surface of the floor. Is it carpeted? Is it tile? Is it wood? Just notice what that feels like. And notice what it feels like to have any clothing on your body. What does that feel like? What does it feel like to have your butt on the chair, your back against the chair, sitting up straight, because we want the energy to go up our spine into our pineal and pituitary gland, up to the 1,000-petal lotus at the crown of our head. But we'll get there. So now as we become deeper and more relaxed, we're going to put our hands over our hearts. Bring our awareness underneath your hands. Feel the warmth under your hand. A beautiful heart center, the heart chakra. Just notice, what does it feel like to be here? And when you're here, do you notice any other feelings in your body? For example, I'm noticing activities in different chakras. I notice my root chakra, I notice my throat chakra, and I realize that I may be picking up some energy from other people, and that's fine. This is just information. I'm just noticing what's happening now in the present moment. Bringing my awareness underneath my hands, I notice that there's warmth there. And I move my awareness into that warmth, into the center of that warmth. And I imagine a beautiful candle with a very, very large flame there, right in the center, underneath my hands. And I notice the light that's extending from this flame is filling up the space around my heart. It's filling it up and extending outward. I notice that the light, it's beautiful, it's very crystalline and pure, and yet it has a warmth to it. And it's extending beyond my heart, beyond my physical body. It's extending to cover my entire physical body and outward throughout my auric field. I can extend this light to envelop everyone who's on this call, and even further. There's no limit to my light. There's no limit to your light. When it comes down to it, we are pure light. And that light is love. The essence of our being is love. It's who we are. And we can extend that love out, that love light out to encompass not only everyone on our broadcast today, but also everyone on our beautiful planet. We can start with the city where we are. We can feel that love just extending out to reach and envelop, embrace everyone that's in our immediate neighborhood. And as we embrace them with love, we feel any stress or pain or fear just dissolving. And we extend our love or light even further throughout our city. And we notice that as we do this all together, we're very powerful. We feel the power of this love just helping to shift people into a place of peace. We extend it further. We extend it all the way out throughout the state where we are. It's very powerful light. And we extend it throughout our country, enveloping everyone in a beautiful, beautiful white light filled with love. And we extend it out to cover our entire planet. Our unified light is very powerful. So let the power just bless everyone on our beautiful planet and the planet Mother Earth, completely embraced. All the cells of all the people on Mother Earth are filled with love, filled with this beautiful blessing of love, expanded love. And just notice as we bless the planet, what's happening in your own being. Feel the love and the peace coming back to embrace you. Giving and receiving are the same. As we give love, we receive it. As we give light, we receive it. We are all one self, one beautiful self, united with our Creator. So feel that oneness within. Feel the peace within. Feel the joy within. The joy of knowing that we're powerful creators, that we can make a difference. We're so powerful. And now, staying grounded in that love, in that feeling of peace, in that light, bring it back. Just feel it filling your entire essence. And wiggle your fingers and your toes and just come back, come back, come back. So let me unmute everybody. And we are all unmuted. So welcome, my beautiful panel. Harrison, would you like to join us? Come on over. Poor guy, I have him banished to the other side.
Come out of isolation into the world.
Yes. So
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Harrison.
Hey.
our theme today is All You Need Is Love, which is one of my favorite Beatles songs. And in fact, the Beatles have been inspiring a lot of these conversations because they were so upbeat and joyful and full of love on so many levels. So why do we need love? Beth, what are your thoughts? Why do we need love?
Well, because I think that love is integral to our being. I think we were created out of love, and I think that when we put love out there, as you were saying in your meditation, it comes right back to us. And I think that in everything that I can relate back to what I'm doing in my daily life, all the things that I'm involved in, whether or not I'm teaching or singing or doing a Qigong class, that I do it from a position of loving what I do. That's first of all, I just love doing it to begin with. And then actually being that love and then wanting to share it with others. And so I think that being and doing is what I'm all about. And that's actually something I learned a long time ago from a man named Harrison Klein. And it really does say the whole thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Joel, what are your thoughts? Why do we need love?
Well, I'm going to be slightly contrary.
Good. We like a little
and
controversy.
say it again. Love is one of those words that has so many interpretations, meanings, levels, contexts. So where I'm going to go with it is we don't need love. It's like it's intrinsic. We are love. So it's like it's something that you can't not have. So therefore, there's not a need. However, I think where we're coming from really is to consciously experience love, however that means, whatever that means to you. But for the most part, to use generalizations, I think love is all of these things that Beth has talked about. It's I think if I was to really sort of hone in on one particular aspect, I think love is the sort of it's the lubricant for connection, really. And I think connection's a very human need, if you like. That's not something that's intrinsic. But I think in order to have true connection, that's where you need to invoke a conscious awareness or active participation in the love vibration.
No, that's really true. That's really beautiful. Wonderful. Christine.
I absolutely believe with all my heart that we live in a lawful, loving universe and that cares about me and loves me. And I think that what's happened in in the human experience is somehow we got conditioned to think that we weren't loved. And yeah, it's just simply not the truth. Whenever I'm feeling distracted, I come back to my breath and I breathe consciously. And yeah, in some traditions, they believe that your breath is the spirit of love.
You know, that's true. And in yoga, you know, we have a life force energy that comes
That's right.
through our breath. And what is our life force really but love?
Exactly. And your breath is your absolute best friend, because it's the first thing that enters the body when you come out of the womb, and it's the last thing to leave as you exit the body.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love all these profound thoughts, Sarah.
I think for me, love was the one thing that was missing when I was struggling, and not because anybody had taken it away, because I had stopped loving myself. And in that, you know, it was still there in all its forms in my life. I just didn't see them because I didn't see it about myself. And so for me, you know, it took me traveling halfway around the world to spend 4 months with disabled orphans who have nothing, but they all have hearts fuller than probably any of us will ever experience. And to be in their presence and know, even when they couldn't speak, you know, they could still demonstrate love. They could still show the children that they lived with that they loved them. And that was, for me, this power that I hadn't experienced before. And it was, you know, I found my reason to breathe over there, but it all came down to love. You know, that feeling of, you know what, there is something here that I need to cherish. Not because somebody else has told me it's there, but because I felt it and know that it is something that I can build on and then pass on to others.
Oh, beautiful. That's really beautiful. Harrison, are you going to be a contrarian also?
A little bit, but you know, without love, there's no existence. As far as I know, there's no such thing as existence without love. I mean, the universe is made of love. It's energy. It's all things, and it permeates everything. And especially at this time of the coronavirus and all the things that are going on around us, you know, it is the basic immunity system of everything, because with love we get to heal all things. So with love, anything that you have negativity about can be healed through love, including your physical symptoms and so on and so forth. So the deeper you connect with your love, and again, it's the substance of all things, and there's no existence without it. That's why we need it, because we wouldn't exist without it. But if we apply what we understand of the God of our understanding of love, then love becomes the immunity system to all things. And on the other side of that is that love is also the joy system of all things. Without love, there is no, you know, enjoyment of life. There's no permeation of the good things that we experience, and there's no feeling of contentment or fulfillment or strength or character or beauty or anything else. I mean, there's the thing that we call God is really a different kind of evolution of love, or we come from that space. So that's the whole enchilada, you know.
The whole enchilada.
Whole enchilada.
The love enchilada.
Yeah, without it, there's no enchilada. And
So,
it's not just Mexican.
right. And truly, I feel that we are all love, and God is love, and we're all connected through love. And when things are not working, it's because there's a channel that's blocked, and love can totally ease that. So my next question is, why is love more powerful than fear? So, Christine, I'm going to let you answer that. Why is love more powerful than fear?
Because love makes all the worlds go round, and fear stops the world, right? It puts it in, it's like a toxic energy. And yeah, I think at this time, Steve Farrell, the executive director of Humanities Team, put out a nice email yesterday saying that, we have to give ourselves permission to be vulnerable during these rapidly changing times, because it's our true strength lies in our willingness to be vulnerable and to build our trust muscle. So that's why I think it's way more important than fear.
Oh, yeah. And is fear real? That's another
No.
question.
I don't think it is.
Beth, what are your thoughts?
Well, when I hear the word fear, it kind of takes me into master classes that I do with students that are preparing to go on stage, and they're usually very fearful. And I've always approached walking onto a stage, whether you're in a boardroom or you're in front of an audience or going into a party, is you can't really stay there if you put love there instead. And so I usually ask the students to put themselves into their music and how much they love doing what they're doing and what they want to communicate to that audience. And then pretty soon, fear doesn't have a place. And I think that happens in real life too. I think that if you are filled with love, then I think fear, it really doesn't, it doesn't intrude.
Yeah, you are one of the very love-filled people I know.
Oh.
Beth, for those of you who don't know, Beth is a fabulous opera singer. So that's the type of performer she is. And Joel, what are your thoughts? Why is love so much more powerful than fear?
Well, I kind of agree with what Harrison said. If you take the meaning of love here to be the intrinsic nature of everything, then if you think about that, then fear is love. So it's like fear is just an aspect of the greater love that there is. So it's like saying, what's more powerful, a droplet or the ocean? Well, the droplet is just part of the ocean anyway. So that's your equation right there. So fear is a manifestation, like all experiences. All experiences come from the same place. We have to take the infinite formlessness and then split it into different fragments of light. So if we take love as the all, then really you're just looking at a small part of it. And I think that the problems that come with fear is the power it is given, which is a very different thing. If you give fear power, or you give anything power that is undue, then you're going to have an imbalance of the experience. And fear is one of those things that we look at, and it's easy to judge it, but I think even judging fear is a form of fear itself. So if you can really take on the idea that fear is love, then what you're really doing is aligning with love over the expression which happens in a particular moment to be fear.
I like that. I like that very much, because truthfully, everything is love. And when we love fear, then it becomes that bigger ocean. I think that's really wonderful. Harrison, what are your thoughts?
The power of love is so much greater than the power of fear, because fear is constriction. When we experience fear, we have a constriction in our body. We tighten up, we tense up, we stop the flow of energy, we stop the flow of awareness, we stop the flow of excitement and juice, we stop the flow of our natural joy. So fear and love are the same thing. They're components of the same thing. Fear is a component of the greater aspect of love. But when you constrict, you're actually you're not fluid. You have no flow in the process, and the joy of life is in being in the flow, because as you are in awareness, as you are in joy, as you are in whatever the moment happens to be, that is the essence that makes you feel the most alive. And so you don't feel alive when you're in fear. So that's the power of love over fear, as far as I'm concerned. It's the withdrawal of your power, which makes you feel less of a person, less of alive, less capable, less beautiful, less contributory, and all those other things.
So what you're saying then is that we're focusing all of our energy into this small part rather than into the whole.
And taking away what is the natural flow. So it's like when we have a one singular focus, the background goes out of focus. And the truth of the matter is we're whole when we see everything, the background and the foreground simultaneously.
Nice, nice. Sarah?
For me, fear is love on limits, or love with limits. Like Harrison was saying, when you put restrictions on it, and they're usually the ones we put on ourselves, and actually look at things from that place rather than, well, what is possible, then fear becomes incredibly powerful, but is still coming from the same place as love.
It's prison, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Fear is sort of a prison.
So how can we generate more love in the world, especially during these chaotic times, very stressful times? Beth, how would you like to generate more love in the world?
Well, when I think about the world situation and coping with that, of course, I think we need to be cautious, but mostly I think about the ripple effect, and that we can either send out fear and worry, or we can send out love and peace. And it doesn't really matter where we're at either. I think that, you could be teaching students in a small classroom, or you can be giving a big master class online. You could be performing around the globe, or, I could be just studying, singing in my home studio, singing away with love and emotion and gratefulness in my heart. And those moments of heart space energy can affect the world in a ripple effect. And it's kind of like sending a global energy prayer, just like Marbeth, just like you do, that global prayer that's so beautiful. And I think we all can do those global prayers in different ways. And for me, music is a big one that does encompass that, as well as Qigong. And so I say we can raise our vibrations and create big energy, and we can replace the fear. And then I think you can say, yes, love is all you need. Beatles are right.
That's great. I love that. Yes. So, Christine, what are your thoughts? How can we generate more love? I mean, you're working with Humanities Team, and you're very involved with prayer and focusing on positivity. So how would you generate even more love during these times?
By having the courage, I think my heart and so many hearts got shut down in layers, and it takes tremendous courage to be willing to peel back the layers and to be the open heart that really our earth longs for. And that Humanities Team, we truly believe in oneness, and we believe that we're all interconnected, whether we see it or not, that we all are interconnected. And if there is fear there, then turn around and face it and be gentle with it and loving it until it doesn't feel fear anymore. Compassion is very important, and self-compassion is very important. We've been programmed, a lot of us have been programmed to believe that, to look outside ourselves instead of looking inside ourselves. And, in terms of unity consciousness, then all compassion is self-compassion, because we're all one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think one of the things that this coronavirus has done is really shown how interdependent we are on each other.
Exactly.
We are all one on so many different levels. Oh, no, we're just all one. Joel, what are your thoughts?
Well, I love the suggestions already, really. I mean, doing what you love, as Beth said, just expands it out. And really the self-compassion piece, I think, is so important. That's, I think, where I'd go in this one is, again, similar to what I said about fear and not judging it. It's sort of meeting yourself where you are. I think a lot of the issues come from trying to force ourselves to be somewhere that we're supposed to be, whether it's spiritually or personal development wise, rather than just really getting real and going, well, this is where I am. Maybe I am scared. Maybe I am fearful. But if you can love that, if you can bring that self-compassion, if you can accept yourself where you are, then it begins to generate, or you begin to align with that love energy, that love field. And that then will naturally inspire compassion outwards as well as inward. It will naturally inspire actions and thoughts that will attract actions and thoughts that come from that love field rather than from the contracted space, as Harrison said. So I think more than anything else, from my perspective, is really just to be very soft, gentle, kind, self-compassionate, and allowing, especially as you say right now with the sort of, there's so much craziness in the air, you know, start with yourself. Start with just going, it's okay. You know, right. And you know, oh my God, you've gone out buying toilet rolls. Maybe you're part of the madness. No, it's okay. It's okay, because we do get wrapped up in these things, because we're human, no matter how much work we've done ourselves. But just meet each moment with that sense of self-acceptance, self-love, self-allowing, because again, that realigns you with the love and allows things to flow in a more upward spiral rather than continuing down into that, again, as Harrison said, the sort of contraction aspect.
And Sarah, what are your thoughts?
I think now especially it's about connections. So it's about connecting to yourself and what's important to you, but building on the connections with others. I mean, I've watched, you know, I have friends in Italy who are basically under house arrest, and, you know, they're both, you know, actors, dancers, whatever. And, you know, the fun that they have brought to, you know, Facebook Lives of, you know, they're eating pasta again, or they're, you know, but they started one of those singing, you know, courtyards with their neighbors. And quite frankly, even they said most of those people they don't even know. And they've, you know, they've lived window to window with them for years, but they didn't know them. They didn't know anything about them. And yet this has given them a chance to expand into each other's, you know, circle of life, but with that connection to make sure that other people are okay and have what they need, rather than fearing, well, we're locked at home, we're not allowed out, we can't do anything about it. They've almost completely switched off that reaction to what's going on around them and are looking for the ways to show the world that love is all you need.
And that's so beautiful. There was a post that I posted, I guess, yesterday or the day before. Well, what a wonderful time to go outside, to spend time with family, to listen to music. And one of the things that comes up for me is, how can we be of love and assistance to others? Because as we extend ourselves, then, you know, we uplift ourselves as well, you know, so it's a really beautiful thing. Harrison, what are your thoughts? I wasn't neglecting you.
Do you remember when we used to sing sha la 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 la? Well, it's all about the point that, you know, you express the highest and the most joyous thing inside of you. And the greatest thing about love is that it allows all things to be as they are. It creates it's the end of judgment. There is no judgment, which means that you agree with the sanction of source of all things to be what they are. And that's really, really important. So just spread, number one, you remove judgment, because that allows people to be what they are. And if we are naturally joyous, we're naturally loved by definition, then love can be expressed in a greater way. We don't actually have to do anything to increase love. We just have to be. And in being, because that allows all things to touch everything else. We come in contact with our oneness in that way. So it's not about doing anything, it's just about being something. It's about living in the space of what's true for you. There's three ways to source, as far as I'm concerned: truth, love, and beauty. And anytime you are focused on appreciation of any of those things, you are expanding love. You appreciate yourself, you're expanding love. You appreciate another person, you're expanding love. You appreciate nature, you're expanding love. You appreciate, what you're doing, you're expanding love. All those things go out in that ripple effect, and we all touch each other by the amount of love we have. That in point of fact is how we connect the most deeply, by the amount of love that we have. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about it. And talking about music, talking about dance, that is the free form of love. There's no thought to that. It's just playfulness, and playfulness is love.
And he is, Mr. Playful himself. So we have people on our Zoom call, and I want to tell you that if you have any questions, I neglected to mention this at first, any questions, any comments, just raise your hand or just post in the chat, and you'll be joining us, and we'll check out and see your thoughts and what your questions are. So be sure you're part of this. You don't have to just sit there and listen to us. You can
I have
react.
something else.
I have something else too.
Okay.
You can save it.
Yeah,
Okay, good. So we are all energy beings, and because our energy fields overlap with each other, and because we have something called quantum entanglement, the emotions that we may be feeling may not be our own. I know that several people on this panel are empathic. I am. And so I would like to ask you, what do you suggest people do who are feeling emotions of fear, may not be their emotions? What do you think they should do? Aha, Joel.
Well, my answer is going to be obvious. They should get hold of the MPA process.
Of course, I knew that was coming.
I mean, for people who don't know, the MPA process is a simple way to not take things personally. And one thing you're doing if you're an empath and you cannot yet distinguish between what's your emotion and someone else's emotion, then the MPA process will help you, again, literally to not take those things personally. But the truth is, we're all in a bath of different energies, and we take on so many things as if they are ours, as if it's us. And that's what the process is. Simple 6-line process. Again, you can download it for free from my website and just try it out, because it will give you that sense of being truly connected to which is genuinely resonant with you, which is what you are anyway, is a collection of energies that truly resonate with you at a deep level, versus those things that you're taking on as being about you, which tends to drag you down. It's like when you do that, when you take stuff on, I call it Velcro world. It's like going in a world covered in a Velcro suit, and by the end of the day, you come back home like a big ball of fluff, wondering why you're so tired. And in a way, so what MPA gives you is this sense that really not taking anything on personally in that way means that you can come home clean.
Right.
I'm able to distinguish the difference.
Absolutely. And
LEG.
and I know we all have our different tools. We'll be posting everybody's website. And I know you have a wonderful process there, Joel. Christine, what are your thoughts?
I agree with what Joel said. As an energetic being, I like to, if something's coming at me, and I am very empathic as well, I ask the question, who does this belong to?
Right.
Because a lot of it, I think, like, as far as I know, the vast majority of it, like 90% or so, doesn't belong to me.
Right.
And again, I just go in and use my breath, and calm humanity has a very overstimulated nervous system at the moment. So I use my breath to calm myself.
Absolutely. Well, I do that too. I'll ask, is this mine?
Yeah.
And, I find also with most of the people that I work with that 85% of it is not. And so then, you can actually just like physically just, push it out. Just say, not mine. I send love and peace and healing to whoever this belongs to. And that can make a big, big shift.
And tapping is also good. I like tapping.
Tapping is wonderful. It really is. And, but yes, we're all one. And so we do feel other people's energy. What are your thoughts about this, Beth?
Well, I have a kind of a system that I use because I've had empathic tendencies. They might not be quite as strong as yours, Marbeth, but nonetheless, they come in and out. And I feel that if I am aware of them, I can focus my emotions and my reality if I do these three things. And first is the mindfulness, which is the awareness of the thoughts, like you were saying. Is this my thought? Am I taking on somebody else's? The thing that really helps me though is gratefulness, and that's sort of what Harrison was talking about a few moments ago, and which really for me starts the magic. That is, gratefulness is the magic, and I always go there because there's so much in our lives that we can be grateful for. And when we can reframe whatever is entering our mind, say, okay, that's not mine, that's someone else's, and like you say, you could pray for them or wish them well, and reframe whatever's bothering you into a place of love. And I guess it's reprogramming your neural pathway, because you might have something in there that's just bothering you. Sometimes it happens to me, but usually I'm pretty good at shifting quickly these days. But it's practice, you just have to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, we had after the last election, or the 2016 election in the U.S., there was so much negative energy, fear, anxiety, anger throughout, the whole United States. For like a few weeks there, I was just feeling awful, and I forgot to ask, is this mine? But then when I did, and I was like, no, because it really didn't feel like me, at all. And when I did, I just sent love and peace to everyone. And immediately I felt this peace just wash over me. Now, I find that doesn't work 100% of the time, because if you have a resonant pattern going on, it might not work. And then, there are other things that you can do. But that's something that I think works in most cases, just because we are all one. And when you send love and peace, then you're receiving it as well. Sarah, what are your thoughts?
So I think I'm still at the beginning of a journey with other people's energies. And so definitely the last few months, boundaries have been a huge issue. Wanting to help people, but then getting caught up in other people's energies. But it has been really about asking that question, does this belong to me? And then, like Beth was saying, gratitude practice. Since I put that daily practice in place, then things are much easier, because I am finding the pieces that I'm grateful for. And, even in the last couple of days, when I got the notification that all visas to Vietnam were cancelled for at least the next 6 months, and then the orphanage shut its doors to all volunteers for the foreseeable future, there was that moment of absolute terror, what would happen to my kids, and then just pure gratitude that a government was willing to make that sort of powerful choice for its people, and that the orphanage loved the kids so much that they would actually take that decision. And a couple of years ago with chickenpox, they didn't. And so that they have moved so far towards making a decision like that. Sure, I would love to be out there and hugging them and giving them all the love I can, but I also know that the protection that other people now have for them and their welfare is more powerful than anything I can give them by visiting for 2, 4, 6 weeks. And that was really, that this week has been kind of an awakening for me in understanding the power of gratitude, but also being respectful of where that boundary is for me in how much I can do before I take on too much, and therefore I then can't help anyone. So that first love yourself, making sure that my glass is full before I actually try and help anybody else.
And what you can do also, Sarah, is you could do some Zoom conferences with the children at the orphanage. I'm sure they'd love to see you, especially around Christmas time.
Yeah, so they unfortunately don't have Wi-Fi at the
Oh.
orphanage, but I am in contact with some of the staff, and so we are trying to find a way to get a phone, to get something in through those closed doors so that we can still have some contact. But yeah, it's a very different orphanage to the one that I was in, when I first visited 5 years ago, that even those conversations are possible. And that comes from, the love that we've generated over there, but also that they've trusted us as well.
Beautiful. Harrison.
It's my contention that the entire human species is going through a restructuring at this point, that there is a whole series of paradigms that have collapsed. There's a whole series of institutions that have collapsed. There's a whole series of things that we question about that once were traditionally ingrained in our conditioning. And, for me, if we ask the question, there are two significantly important questions in the world that we all have to answer in order to function well. One is, who am I? And that's an important thing. The second one is, what am I feeling right now? And that gives us groundedness in the moment. And then if we apply our knowledge of what are the faculties of mind, in other words, there are 5 faculties of mind: memory, reason, intuition, imagination, and one other one, whatever that is, perception. And if we apply our knowledge of those things, we actually grind ourselves, or we ground ourselves into the essence of love. And anytime you can answer the question, who am I and what am I feeling in this moment, you are always in the center of who you are. So when you understand and apply the 5 faculties of mind, or any one of the faculties of mind that you're using, now you know what tool you're using. And so the experience of other people being in your presence do not have to affect you in any way. I'm not empathic in that way. I mean, I perceive other people's emotions quite clearly, but I'm not empathic. I don't take them on as mine in that way. And I think that's simply because of my own indecision to be in the who am I, not in the who are you, or what, how are you affecting me, or how is anything else affecting me. I just am grounded in, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I am. And from that point on, I have
Only
clarity.
kidding.
I'm pure love.
Yes,
But
we are. We are pure love.
You're my energy baby of pure love. I'm the other half of your soul. We're 2 souls in one. We're 1 soul and 2 bodies.
There we go. So you guys, do you have any messages for people who are very empathic, who are experiencing overwhelm in these times? So why don't we start with Christine?
I usually wake up, I don't know, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I used to get up and come into this office and go to my altar and meditate, but then we rescued a cat who gifted us with 6 kittens, so now I just stay in my room. And I just start by listing all the things that I'm grateful for. And it's a perfect way to start the day. I really like what you said, Beth, about gratitude, because I think gratitude is being love. It's being grateful for all that you have in this moment. And I like, one of my favorite songs is one of Harrison's favorite songs, Shower the People You Love with Your Love.
Yeah.
James Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So gratitude, starting the day. The first thing I'm grateful for is my beautiful bed and my beautiful pillow.
And don't sit on any kittens.
Well, no, the kittens actually, we rescued her in 2012, the first Monday in May, and she gifted us with 6 kittens on the 4th of July. So she must have been about 1 second pregnant. And we had 10 cats for 10 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
I once
It was
had
very
13.
fun though.
Yeah.
I know.
I once had 13, and they were everywhere. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't eat. I couldn't be in my kitchen. There was at the top of the At the top of the awning and the top of the curtains, there were curtains. On the floor, there were kittens. On the chairs, there were kittens. They were just
Yeah,
everywhere.
and your legs are like little trees.
Yes, your legs are trees, and they just climb right up.
Oh, yeah.
And
So,
their claws, they don't know the power of their claws.
so there's lots to be grateful for with little kitties. Joel, what are your thoughts? Do you have a special message for empaths who are experiencing overwhelm?
Well, one thing, it's interesting because next week's podcast, coming out on Tuesday, I've got a guest talking about highly sensitive people. And one of the things that's really interesting is she's defined the difference between highly sensitive people and empaths. And the point of raising that is I think it's important to be cautious with the label of empath and just be really aware. As Harrison said, he's defined it as he's sort of, he doesn't feel it in the same way. I can't remember who else on this panel said something. I think it was it you, Beth, said you wouldn't necessarily class yourself as an empath.
Mm-hmm.
The fundamentally important thing is again, going back to what Harrison said, which I totally agree with, is what am I feeling right now? What's here? And it's easy to get lost in the, is it mine, is it theirs? Initially, when you realize you're an empath, it becomes a much clearer question. But just deal with it as you are. So I would come back to my same thing, which is come into that self-compassion. Really be kind to you, whatever it takes in the moment. And again, Christine's mentioned breathing. I mean, that's so important. I love what you said about, the humanity being, I think you said basically high stress right now, a high state of stimulation, which is part of what happens for high sensory people, highly sensitive people. So all of these things, I mean, there's so many ways to do it, but breathing, again, I always come back to self-directed kindness. What can you do? Just be really kind to you. And from that, then you begin to generate a different field, which all of the inspiration, whatever the method is, whatever the action is, whatever the thing is, whether it's gratitude, all of those things, if you start with, how can I love myself, even though I might have judgment around myself right now, even though it may be, I may be in a state of stress, how can I even love that right now? How can I just be kind to myself? How can I soothe myself a little now? Because from that, doing that one thing, you shift directions. And then once you've made that shift of direction, you're on a very different journey.
I love that, Joel. And I found that over the last few days, I do many, many different, trained in so many different energy modalities and techniques, but I found myself giving myself Reiki over the last few days and just really feeling that universal love just flowing through me. And it just was something that I just was just totally loving, that I could just give that to myself. Sometimes I'll do yoga or meditation or just go out and take a walk in the garden or walk on the street. And it just, giving that to myself is such a powerful gift and a transformation in the moment of like, whoo, I don't need to be overwhelmed. I can just love myself. So that I really appreciated that. Beth, what are your thoughts?
That's beautiful. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I think that empathy is such a wonderful trait for everybody to have. And I mean, that's what you want people to have is
Sure.
you want them to feel for you. If you're, if a student comes in and I know they're a little bit nervous or they might be, I could feel intuitively, I can feel what they're feeling, but I know I can't help them if I let it go inside of me and stay and prevent me from actually doing my work with them. So I've trained myself, and I think a lot of it comes from Qigong too, because it's such a relaxing modality and it really helps me with the flow of life force energy on a daily basis. I do it every day, jump out of bed, boom, doing Qigong. And then of course I'm teaching it too. But when students come in for voice lessons, yeah, the empathy is rolling out there because I think it's so helpful. So I would never say, take the empathy away, but I don't want it to sit in my system and prevent me from having a beautiful connection with them and being able to help them. And so I guess I've just sort of trained myself out of it or something. I don't know, but it
That's cool.
doesn't bother me. I can feel it and then let it go and figure out how to help.
That's beautiful. Sometimes, I'll have my body will warn me if I'm
Uh-huh.
moving into something that it's not safe. My primary thing, especially when I'm working with people, is safety first. And I notice for myself, if I'm about to work with someone and the bells and whistles are going off in my body, I've learned to read them, that I'll put myself in an Iron Man. I'll suit up in an Iron Woman costume, helmet, gloves, the
Yeah.
whole thing. And I just allow in love and only things that are good, and I can work with them and be effective and not take any of their stuff on. So that's
That's
another
great.
thing that you can do.
That's great.
Whatever
I
works.
am Myanmar. I can see it.
Yeah. So Sarah, what are your thoughts?
For me, it's just about grounding and the gratitude, but also just allowing myself to feel into the situation. Is it really a fear? Is it really energy that's coming across? Or is it a perception of something that's happening in my life that I'm actually bringing to the situation with that person or that energy that they're bringing? And in a lot of cases, it's an assumption that I've already made before the connection starts or before the conversation starts. And easy enough, that I find a lot easier to then, I follow my own breathe process and just go back to how can I just settle myself that I can experience this for what it is, rather than putting any weight on it from the energy that's coming towards me. Now, if I get the feeling that I'm in a really negative energy, then I will put up the boundaries. I don't think I've quite ever gone to suit up, but I'm going to remember that in the future.
Very cool. Harrison,
I'm wearing the suit at this very moment.
I noticed it looks very sharp.
Um, I have a different take on this situation. We're talking about what do we want to tell empaths and so on and so forth. Well, I think that it's really important to understand the principles of resiliency. Principles of resiliency have a lot to do with inspiration. They have a lot to do with where we want to go, what we want to be, and how we want to present ourselves in the world. And as we are connected to those things, we re-inspire ourselves into inspiration. And inspiration is energy. Inspiration is positive energy that allows us to unify in a whole multiplicity of ways. So if you want to talk about what would be best for an empath, is to always seek what is the highest inspiration you can. Let me refer back to Abraham Hicks for a second. Is always reach for the highest fun or most pleasing thoughts you have about any situation. That opens things up. So it actually dissolves the negativity that can be around, because if you're reaching for something greater than the moment, or if you're reaching for something that feels really good, you are bringing something dramatic to the moment, because most people don't, and most circumstances don't. They're about whatever it is going on in the moment, but it's about looking at reality. And the really evolved people don't look at reality, they create it. So they have an intention of what they want to do. They have an intention of who they are, and they have an intention of how they want the people around them and the experiences around them to play out. And I think that's the highest level of evolution that you can get to. It is being in that moment with the intention of making every single thing really better and good
Beautiful.
from whatever space you are in. Yeah.
I love that. And of course, the gratitude is
And the
another
gratitude
thing
is central to all
that's
that.
central. And also for gratitude, we don't have to just be grateful for everything that's good. We don't know. Sometimes things that appear to be bad or negative, like this coronavirus, has a lot of positive aspects to it that we can be grateful for.
We're becoming more connected to each other because of this coronavirus.
Yes.
And we are restructuring our abilities and our connections to, what is important to us.
Absolutely.
And that is dramatic shift for humanity.
And so it has flown by. We have such a dynamically wonderful panel.
We could talk to you all night.
We could talk to you all night. I would love to talk to you all night.
And all day.
And we have
And
Joel
next year.
Joel and Sarah are in the UK, and Christine's in Canada, and Beth is in Vancouver. No, Oregon. You're in Oregon.
So now for Joel
We're
and
in Florida.
for Joel and Sarah to come over here now, they can't take a plane. They have to swim with a knife in their teeth.
So we are a total international panel. I love it. I would love
I'm
to.
from the planet Xenon.
Well, that's very true. So I'd like you guys to share just kind of something to sum up your thoughts about All You Need Is Love. So we'll start with Christine.
Well, it's true, that song. We had this theme a while ago the Beatles had it right. Give peace a chance, and all you need is love, right? And be grateful and recognize the power of gratitude. It's very, very powerful, because what you appreciate appreciates.
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful. Joel.
Okay, well, to sum it all together, I guess. Yeah, just simple. I'm thinking of all the different answers, the wonderful answers we've had tonight, and it's sort of like, just so come into yourself, know who you are, what you feel, be kind to you. Then that kindness will naturally flow out to others. There'll be connection, empathy, and joy, and then you will experience love.
Oh, I love that. Woo. Yay, nice. Beth.
Oh my. Well, all of that. Plus, I think that because of the situation that the planet is in now, I think the interconnectedness of the planet is so important, and that's where love comes in. And if we can spread love, then we'll always be connected in a beautiful way.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Sarah.
I think I would just take another Beatles song and say I get by with a little help from my friends. That actually, I can be my own best friend and help myself. But actually now, the times that we're living in, this is the time for connection and compassion on a completely different scale.
Nice. Very nice. Harrison.
Donovan sang, everybody is a part of everything anyway. And as we understand that we are a part of everything and anyone, we don't discount other people or other things. We don't judge them. It's being central to the portion of love. And John Lennon wrote, he said, there's nothing you can do that can't be done. There's nothing you can sing that can't be sung. And all you need is love. And I think that's a really good thing to understand, that it doesn't matter what it is. It's that it's all part of the same substance of this magic thing, this immensity called love. And it's beyond all of our individual experiences, but we are all part of it in the same way, as Joel said, a drop of ocean is the ocean. The same thing.
Beautiful. Wow, my amazing panel. And
all you need
is love. I just wanted to add also that, as we appreciate, as we love, as we focus on the positive and we have somebody who just raised her hand. Dusty Hughes. Dusty Hughes, I'm going to unmute you. So go ahead. Oh, let me just there. Whoops. Hang on. Unmute. It says unmute. Are you unmuting? Talking permitted.
You have to unmute yourself.
Talking permitted, but then, yeah. Are you there, Dusty?
I believe I am.
There you are. Perfect.
So all this, we don't really need love. Love needs us to show up and participate.
So
I think that's the way it should go round. Because
I
love
like
is
that.
there. We just have to participate in it.
That's lovely. I love that. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Thank you guys.
Everybody is a part of everything anyway.
Okay, well, thank you
You
all.
can be happy
We
if
can
you
all-
let yourself
We
be.
can all sing a rounding rendition of All You Need Is Love. I could have the Beatles here, but I don't. I mean, on music, not per se.
Well, we
All
can,
you need is love.
and if we have the infinite love of somebody like Jesus, we can raise John Lennon and George Harrison.
And George Harrison. Oh, thank you all so much. We'll be back next Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern, live at 5, with meditation and conversation with Marbeth and friends. Thank you guys all so much. This was fabulous. The hour just flew.